Okie doke. So we are on week 5 of the shadows and the graces. And I hope you're all having a lot of good revelation with this and some good progress with understanding more what's happening inside of you. Ah! All right. So just to cover where we have come from, just briefly, the first shadow is pride and hubris, and it is activated mostly with will I be humiliated? What will others think of me? Us against them. And the opposite, grace, is reverence, that all of life is sacred and holy. Mine and yours are all life forms on the planet. The second is greed, avarice, and it's never enough. We never get enough, and holding back, not giving your all, holding back when something good happens to someone else, keeping back your excitement. And the opposite is piety. It's the ability for me to see you in a godly light and see the hand of God in all things. The third is luxury, self-entitlement. And the opposite, grace, is understanding. It lifts us beyond our small self so that we can see things more in a landscape. We see our place in this whole scheme of life. Wrath is the fourth. More importantly, self-directed anger. And fortitude, the strength to bear up, to believe, to endure. And then we covered repentance, which comes into play as we look inside at these shadows. We see the need to repent, and we learn that repentance is changing our thought process. It's changing our thoughts from one way of thinking to another way of thinking, so that then our actions are different and our internal landscape is different. So that's kind of where we have come from in the last few weeks. And so as we move in the process of life, we get more smooth in the process. And it's like stones on the shore. You know, a grace allows us to roll with the flow of the water instead of resisting it. So we tumble along and we become refined and we become more smooth. And we learn that it is the process of life, and we begin to stop resisting, and we begin to start participating and being active with it. We resist what we fear will hurt us. So our resistance to the truth, or our resistance to looking inside, really going deeper, really asking to see the shadows, we resist doing that because we're afraid of what we're going to see, or what we're not going to see, right? But we begin to lose that fear as we grow and evolve in our process. So we learn to trust what comes to the surface. And we talked about this before, but whatever comes to the surface, we learn to trust that it is time for it to be transformed. So as we go through this process, different things will float to the surface for us to see, and then allow to be transformed. And we participate in the transformation, right? Our thought process is transforming away from shadow into grace, right? And we trust that it's ready to be dealt with and that it's time. And so we actively engage in this process. So it's kind of like we talked before. I gave the example of when I was gardening, and I would remove all the stones, and then the stones kept reappearing, and I was like, where are these coming from? And then it was like the earth is birthing stones all the time. There, if you slice through the earth, there would be stones at different levels, and they come up to the surface, and you pull them out of your garden, and then you're like, where, I thought I cleared this, and there's another one. So it's the same thing with things within ourselves that are stones that are time to be birthed, time to be pulled out of the garden. It is the ripe time to do it. So we remove the stones from the fertile soil of our garden, or we can choose to not remove it. It's our choice. You know, it might be the right time to deal with it. We might not be willing to. So we will garden around it and stub our toe on it, and until we get to a place where we're tired of experiencing it in the garden of our life, and then we will remove it. So if you're not ready and something comes up, don't worry. It'll hang around until you are ready. It's fine. But when things do come to our awareness, then that's the right time, and we can ask for grace to heave ho these stones out of our life. Um, there's a perfect and right time for all things in our life, for all teaching to land, for our progression through the graces. This is the right time for us to learn this teaching, is right now. So just learning to trust that, you know, as things are moving in our life and we're becoming aware, that we're becoming aware because it's the right time, because teaching is around us all the time, but we're not always aware. It might not always be the right time for us to get a hold of it and implement it. And there is a divine order in all of life. Nothing is willy-nilly, and there's no chaos with divinity. That it's orderly. There's an orderly process. Our life path and our soul's journey is a steady movement. It's a steady movement. We can't rush. You know, we can't think that we can rush to the end or to the next thing or the next thing. We think we can, but we can't. You can go ahead and try to rush and see how far you get. Or you can try to make it happen out of your own mind, right? But there is a right order to things, and when we stay in connection, we spend time developing our own soul, we have a peace with the time frame, right? There's a process to growing, there's a process to life, and it is all happening in divine order. So we learn to evolve, we learn to produce fruit, right? And we need to evolve to produce fruit, and then evolve again to produce more fruit. And not all the fruit ripens at the same time. And I remember when I was at the farm, and I went out and picked blackberries and black raspberries, and I came in with a big bucket, and excuse me, I went back the next day, and I had another bucket full. And then I went back the next day, and it was like there's green, pink, and black fruit. And every day there's more that comes to ripeness. So it says, if you think of your own life and your own soul's journey that way, we have to go through some sun and some rain and some season to get the fruit. And then not all the fruit ripens at the same time. So we rejoice in the fruit we have. We really commit ourselves to the process of growth, knowing that there's more fruit coming, right? So and our experience with and our knowledge of the graces and how we connect with them, and our confidence and trust in them, that's part of the growing process. we can understand with our mind what is a shadow and what is a grace, and then we can hang in one in our sanctuary and really ask for clarity. Show me this shadow where it's showing up in my life, and then we connect with grace to guide us into repenting, changing our thinking, changing our mind with that. And it's an ongoing process. It's an ongoing development. So sometimes we have to learn some stuff to get more revelation. Practice it, choose grace, and then we get more revelation. So it's a sinking below the surface into the depths of our soul, and it's an ongoing thing. So moving on to the fifth shadow. The fifth shadow, and this one I had to work on a little bit, and I hope that I am going to put it into a format that you can easily grasp. I had to review a few times to get it for myself. So the fifth one is spiritual gluttony. Okay, so we know that gluttony is overindulging, right? Typically a food, but it could also be anything, right? That we overindulge. But spiritual gluttony kind of comes in. Um, it's the manner in which we talk to ourselves about ourselves and how we see the world and about the space we get in when we are in darkness, what we indulge in this within ourselves. So again, it's an internal journey of thought forms, right? So thought forms, an example of when we get into a dark space within ourselves and we indulge thought forms such as no one loves me, I never get a break, good things happen to everybody else, there's no one here to help me. These are reptile thoughts and they oppose truth, but it's kind of a self-pity place that we can fall into when we're feeling bad about our life. That's the darkness, like feeling when we're not in the light, we're in the darkness, we're not feeling good about our life or good about ourselves, our bodies, that type of thing. So it's overindulging those aspects of ourself. So they come out of that type of thinking arises out of the other shadows. It comes out of the entitlement, the pride, right? The self-pity, that type of thing. So it's basically psychically overindulging. So not necessarily shoving food in your face or buying a bunch of stuff. It's overindulging yourself mentally, psychically, internally. So we go into the dark place in our thoughts and we indulge the negativity. For example, gluttony for politics, gluttony for Hollywood gossip, gluttony for the news of any kind, 24-hour news. There's nothing going on, people, like that. It has to become dramatic to keep our attention. So we indulge in things that we know are moving us out of our inner sanctuary, right? So self-aggrandizing in our mind is indulging thoughts of winning, of rising above others, being better than others, winning arguments, having arguments, allowing ourselves to elevate ourselves within our mind. That's an indulgence. That's not So to figure out, um, again, what owns you, where is this happening in your life? You can say, what is affecting or destroying my inner tranquility? What's affecting my well-being, my sense of well-being? Am I scared all the time? Am I feeling, defensive? Am I feeling a grinder in my stomach when I'm plugged in 24 hours to the TV? Try unplugging and see if you can get your equilibrium back. If you can't, if you are knocked off of your holy sacred ground, you are overindulging. You are in spiritual gluttony and you're stuffing yourself with things that are taking away from your life, which are causing an energy hemorrhage. So you can say what's pulling me off of my holy ground, what's pulling me out of my peaceful, my reverent thoughts, right? When I start to see other people in an unpious way, then you're being pulled off. If you start to go us against them, those people are bad, evil, dark, you're being pulled off of your holy ground, and you're being pulled into the shadows, right? What is pulling you into the shadows? That is your spiritual gluttony. And then asking ourselves, when we are in this revelation, what about this is good for me? And what is helping me evolve out of this process? And, what am I getting from this that I keep doing it, right? And how do I feel inside when I'm indulging? And why is this okay? Why is this okay? Because, I'm not anti, because the people always say, you can't live in your house and not know what's going on. I never said that. I never said that. I know what's going on. I find places to get my data that's more neutral. A lot of time I read it because I don't like to be yelled at, right? It bothers me. So we can know what's going on. We can be informed in the world, right? I'm not anti that, but I am suggesting that people drink a full supply repetitive over and over and over again of stuff that produces a negative result within your body. That's the problem. That's the problem, right? It has a hold of you now and you don't have a hold of it. So that's the issue that we're dealing with. So a spiritual gluttony, is continuing to make bad choices that produce a lot of poison in your life, in your inner soul. And until we make different choices, nothing's going to change in our bodies or in our life. So again, we're going in to see where we're bringing shadow into our sanctuary, into our place of creation for our life, into our soul, into our life energy. Where are we bringing that in? And it's coming in through, in reviewing all of these so far, it's coming in through how we are thinking, and how that is causing us to feel, and what it's causing us to say, and what it's causing us to do in our life. So number 5, spiritual gluttony. The counterbalance grace is counsel. So counsel is taking a mystical truth and putting it into a practical term so that we can apply it to our life and we can walk it out. It is coming from the spirit realm through our spirit, through our mind, into our life. It's not coming from our mind. It's coming from our higher self. So it is a mystical truth that comes in, that gives us revelation, and then awakens us to um, what's happening, and then shows us how we can walk out of it. Council is the invocation of clarity. Council lets you see things how they really are, so that then you can begin to make different choices. Because when we see things how they really are, we can't deny them, right? We see them clearly, and then we make a choice based on clarity, right? Clarity. So we can ask Grace to say, I need to see myself more clearly. I need to live to a higher truth. Help me see myself more clearly. Let me see through more neutral eyes, right? We need the grace of counsel to break through the opposing forces within us. And for example, um, if I speak negatively to myself, about myself, my body, my life, any of that, then how can I expect a breakthrough? Because words have power. Words have power. And if I believe the words that I'm speaking to myself and my body about my life, I am putting that creation power back into my life. And then I am sitting there and saying, but I want the manifestation of this truth at the same time. So we're praying negativity into our life, and we're praying the truth. I want a healing. I need a healing. I need a change. I need this. And I hate my life. I hate my body. I'm fat. Nothing happens good for me. I don't get a break. I'm not blah, whatever it is. And we're going opposite. We're living two people in the same house, right? Kind of. So we need grace to break through that, to help us see the conversations that we're having, and then to counsel us. We need grace to counsel us, to give us clarity, so that we can see, I get it. I'm not, no more of that. I'm going to now find a higher truth that's in line with the healing I want. That's in line with the life process that I am moving on to. Grace comes through us. The grace of counsel comes through us, not just for all the graces move through us. First, they become truth in our own life, and then we become a vessel that is poured out on the soil of the earth and into other people's lives. We are moved by spirit. We're moved by grace to do that. We don't go decide, right? That's, our head talking. So when we have, we're with somebody, and we're listening, and we're like, oh, they really need something from, we can ask Grace, is there something, what do you have for this person? Give me something for this person. If you don't get anything, don't give anything. But if we get ourselves out of the way, the grace of counsel will flow through us and into the ears of someone else. And I just want to say, the difference of the spirit moving and your mind. There is life, there is infinity, there is an endlessness when spirit is moving through you. Oftentimes it will not make sense to you, and it will not be out of your thoughts. It will not be out of your own experience. And oftentimes it'll be something completely bizarre. And so what I have learned in my own life, and having spirit flow through to other people through me, is whatever it is, give it over exactly how it comes to you. Don't embellish, don't explain, don't go, that word doesn't make sense to me, I'm going to insert a different one. It's not for you. Just give it exactly as it comes. If it's a song, if it's a poem, if it's a picture, give it exactly how it comes through you, and then let it go, because the message is for them. It has nothing to do with you. So we begin to get out of the way and allow these graces to flow through us into the lives of others. And we don't have to have the answer. It's not for us. We're vessels. So all of this work is making us really beautiful vessels of that eternal life can flow through, to speak a word or something into the life of somebody innocently. Innocently. You'd be like, I'm just going to say this and move on. And you may never know, but you may find out that word changed their life. Let them know they were seen and known. We can't possibly know any of that um, in our own mind, right? And so giving out advice is a dead end street, right? If we try to take some, try to guess what it is that they need, we can trust. Grace is right there to flow through us into the life of somebody else, into the life of somebody else. The same as when we're giving reverence, piety, you know, understanding, all of the graces as they dwell within our own soul more completely, they will be available more completely to the world around us. All of us are equipped. So, and so that is the grace of counsel, here to counsel us and to flow through us as all the graces. So that's the week 5, and I'd love to hear any comments if you have them, or if you have anything on the last weeks that you want to offer. Or not. I'll just blab on for a minute. Fill up the space, and if you have something, just like beep, and I'll shut up. But for me, in this process of going through, asking for clarity, asking to see the shadows, asking to live in the grace, I am able to see immediately there was a separation between thought, feeling, and action, a type of thing. There was that's a shadow. I need grace, and it's separate. Like I know, I feel, I sense the difference between that's a shadow, and I need to move into grace. So, and it's like the shadow. Then you see the more subtle ones, right? And then even the more subtle ones, right? Like some of these are pretty subtle, like the gluttony, spiritual gluttony. It can come in subtly, right? So as we evolve and go, this process becomes how we're living, and we spot the shadows like rapidly. But we're learning ourselves too, and that's the great part about journaling. And writing down your thoughts, writing down what's going on, what you're discovering, seeing how you tick, right? Seeing what moves you, seeing what shadows are coming to the surface for you, right?
One day my husband came home and told me that um, he had been this giant ass in the coffee shop while he was ordering a coffee, and um, he was just having a horrible day and spreading it all around. And then the nice guy that handed him his coffee at the end of the line just said, "I hope you have the rest of your day is less and so much better. And he talked about that for years afterwards because it changed. He came home and told me about it. And that little gift from that person meant a lot to him. And it reminded him, how, I guess he was having uh, misery, gluttony at that moment. And that person's words made a big difference for him. It was just a small thing.
So we never know.
That's right.
Tom. So counsel comes from the divine and then through us to another. So, so the divine, we're opening up and becoming more our divine nature, because then we connect with the divine nature more. So when the divine, the universe touches others through humans, through humans, that because we are divine and the divine dwells in us and moves through our different personalities into the lives of the people that are crossing our path. So yes, counsel comes through us. There's counsel that, someone could say, you know I'm in this situation, what do you think, or something. Yeah, we can give out of our knowledge and stuff, but sometimes we know, like, there is nothing here. I have nothing. Like, I can tell when I need to get out of the way. It is a different experience. And I am separate from myself. And I get pictures, words, messages for people that way. And that, I mean, if the universe is not constrained, it doesn't come, every person is going to have their own style and stuff like that. But some people get pictures, some people get dreams. We all, as we become available, uh, well, you'll be standing across from someone and you will be like, I have an unction, I have a sense in my gut, or I have that there's like, um, there's a message for this person, but I don't recognize these words, or I don't recognize, it doesn't make sense to me. Like, I don't know where this is coming from. So yes, counsel comes through us. And counsel is not necessarily I'm going to counsel you on how to correct your life or get your life in order or do something different in your life. Counsel is a mystical truth put into a practical term. And sometimes it's a one line from a poem. I'll say, hey, uh, I'll just wait. I'll wait. And then there'll be an opportunity to give that one line and it fits. And the person's like, oh, right. Like, it feels different, but yes, counsel comes to others through us. And remember, counsel is mystical truth put in a practical form, coming through a human vessel in a format that will be received by the recipient. So grace comes through us to others. It's always healing. It's always open-ended. It doesn't include instructions. I mean, you're not getting lists of instructions, so why would you get them for someone else? We're all wanting the damn list. The steps, right? We're all wanting the steps. So, but it's becoming aware that we are vessels, and we give our truth. We give our truth to others, but truth comes through us too. It comes through us too. It's a so people don't have any issue with let me put my hand, can I put my hand on you and pray for a healing or something like that. It's a verbal hand on someone if you think of it that way.
So cool story for today. Um, didn't recognize that this was happening until you just started talking about it. I was at work today and I got that sense, that overwhelming sense that I needed to say something to somebody. Again, the words just came. I don't even remember what I said, but
Exactly.
a woman was talking about how she felt less than with her coworkers, and she felt that she was being judged, and and she was in this awful place. And I'm like, that's not what we're that's not how we're supposed to be. That's not this, that's not spirit, that's negativity, that's the whole thing that you're talking about.
Mhm.
And I just said to her, that isn't true. I said, and then I just started talking again. Don't remember what I said, but the light that started to shine on her face and in her eyes, and like the relief was palpable. Like you could see her just relaxing
Mhm.
at what I said. And I'm like, what did I just say?
You
I don't
didn't. Yeah,
remember.
you didn't.
Because right, because it exactly, it wasn't my words,
Yeah,
or maybe it was the words, but it was spirit flowing through me. And I'm like, oh my God, when you're talking about it, it's like,
that's
this
what
happened
happened.
today. It happened today.
Yeah,
It's just,
yeah,
it's wild
yeah.
that we can be vessels. And I know we're supposed to be, and that's our purpose. But it's like when it really happens and when you see it and you can feel it, and it's like, wow.
It's
I just,
it's yeah, it's so it's
I was
like
just used to touch somebody's life. That was just
yeah,
a really cool thing.
like look, mom, no hands. Like
Yeah. And I didn't put hands on her because of COVID, but
I know, but it's so great, and thank you so much for sharing that because it really,
uh,
as we let go and make room, there's room. The God cannot. God expresses wants to live on earth and express itself on earth, and it has to do it through a human, our nature,
yeah,
right? And so we become, and I, I don't remember most of the time, but also as it comes in, we don't stop it and try to analyze it. It just flows, and you get I sense that you'll be like, this is, I'm just gonna get out of the way, and then you'll have that
yeah.
experience. Yeah, and then the brain will sometimes try to be like,
What
um,
did I just do? What
yeah,
did I just say?
yeah, and
Wow.
the person has received the hand of God in a way that could never be performed by a human being out of their own human energy,
Wow.
right? That's why you see people, they relax, they right, they have a sense
Yeah.
of as well-being and having been heard. Somebody heard them, right? Universe
Yeah.
heard them and understood them through you, right?
And provided what they needed.
Exactly. And we can never guess and do that out of our human brain because it comes from our divine soul. So it can't be a give, we can't make that happen for somebody, right? So
Yeah.
so awesome. That's so beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing.
And it's before I knew what you were talking about.
Which
Ah,
is perfect. Which
I
is
know, it's
perfect.
crazy.
That's perfect. Because
Crazy.
then you're not wondering, is this it? So
Well, and it's now I understand it. Like I
mhm,
understand what happened because
mhm.
I had no clue what was going on.
Yeah, yeah,
Clueless one here, It just, yeah, it was cool. It was very
yeah.
cool.
That's so great. It's so great. Okay, if nobody has anything else, we can drop into a meditation if you'd like for a few. I'm gonna just stop recording.